welcome to Consciously Healthy. I'm Claire.
And I'm Laura. And what are we talking about today?
Weight.
Weight. No, wait.
No, wait.
No, we're talking about weight.
We're talking about weight as in what you weigh.
What you weigh. It's a big one for women.
It's a big one.
And how's your feelings with weight?
Well, I struggle. So weight's a really difficult one for me because I like to say that I have the right body type to have been born in the 50s and 60s. No, not to be born, to be a woman in the 50s and 60s. Like I've got the very hourglass, shape. And it's not particularly trendy in this particular, generation, in this particular culture that I live in. And so it's a real challenge. And I do everything right. I support my hormones. I look after my blood sugars. I don't eat toxic food. We're going to talk about all of this in a minute. I exercise. I do everything right. I exercise right for my body. And yet weight doesn't seem to, change on me. And I remember reading something recently and it said the definition of a healthy weight, because of course we all get hooked on BMI, which I think is very flawed. But the definition of a healthy weight is is a healthy lifestyle that you can continuously enjoy. So it's not about crash dieting. It's about, okay, so I eat really carefully and, during the week, and then maybe I have a glass or two of wine at the weekend. But it's not about just, okay, well, I stuff my face all day with fast food. It's, I'm doing everything that I feel I can do continuously.
Yeah. My relationship with my weight's an interesting one. I used to be a lot bigger when I was eating a lot more cheese and a lot more fat and a lot more sugar. And my weight has been very stable throughout my life, which is great. What was fascinating for me is I put on the most weight when I was doing intense exercise. So I saw a real change in my body when I started to do CrossFit, and I was surrounded by people who were losing weight and I was gaining weight, and I really struggled with that. And I've written a really lovely blog on what is actually happening in the body when you're doing intense exercise and you're putting on weight. I believe my body went into crisis and it was trying to protect itself, and so it was a real message that something was going on. I think weight's a really interesting one. There's a theory that our bodies, our pituitary is always trying to get us back to the weight that we were when we began our periods. So I know that I'm roughly around the same size that I am when I started my periods. I don't know if you're the same.
Yeah.
And whenever I feel like I'm at a healthy weight, I'm around that kind of around 9 stone, actually. That's kind of the weight that I want.
Actually, saying that was quite funny because I had to go, it was a couple of years ago, and I went for a smear test. The joy of that. That's a whole other episode. But I went for a smear test and they weighed me and she went, oh, that's good. You've been the same weight since you were, I don't know, something like 21 or 22. And I just went, what? No way. How can that be? And because according to, in my head, I've kind of gone up and I've gone down and I've done a detox and I've done this, that and the other. And she was absolutely right. Like literally the weight that I was in my teens, early 20s. Like it kind of stays, it just goes around it, but the average is always the same.
Yeah. So what do we want to say about weight?
So there's many, we don't believe in dieting. Dieting does not work because it's this short period of time, this short, intense fix. Like that's not going to work because you're going to go back to old habits, and until your habits change, it's always going to be flawed. So we prefer to talk about detoxing, and actually we go through phases where the food that we eat is not toxic. We don't eat toxic food. We don't have sugar in our diet every day. We don't have caffeine in our diet every day. We don't have alcohol in our diet every day. We don't have refined carbohydrates in our diet every day. We will enjoy our lives and we will go out for dinner and we'll have those things, but it's not every day. So we're not putting toxins in our body every day. So we could argue that we don't need to detox, but actually every sort of it's probably about twice a year, you and I will both still do, you know, a good month's detox where we clean up any of the little bad habits that we've got to. Maybe, I don't know, like I can go from, like, my favourite thing is coffee, and I can definitely, you know, I have a coffee a week, but I can definitely slip and it goes up to a coffee a day, and then I have to, you know, okay, let's cleanse
back
it out.
in again. Yeah, no, I feel the same way. I've got such a sweet tooth that I have to rein in, and it's my life's work to find sweet foods that are not going to spike my blood sugars or make a change in my weight in a negative way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's one of the things that we love to recommend is that if you're getting yourself into a bad habit that is creating an unhealthy weight, is to make the commitment to stop it for 21 days, because there is something magical about the 21 day bracket, that when you break a habit, you can actually do it after you go through the 21 days. So that's one of my tips.
Yeah. What else? So weight doesn't just come down to what you put in your mouth, it's how your body uses the food. So it's not just about calories in, calories out. There is an element of, obviously, if you're going to stuff in 10,000 calories, then your body's not going to know what to do with it. But, you know, calories in, calories out doesn't just work, because it's how stressed are you, what's your, how much stress hormone is in your body, that's going to be causing an impact. In fact, something really interesting, I can't remember who it was, but it was one of the very famous Olympic rowers here in the UK. And you know that, I mean, rowing is considered to be one of the hardest sports on the body, and they were, when they were training, eating sort of 10,000 calories a day, but they were burning it off. So, you know, technically he was burning it all off, and so it shouldn't have caused any sort of negative effects in his body. But actually, he ended up being diagnosed with diabetes because his pancreas ended up so exhausted from having to process all the food that went into his body.
And it was very high carb as well, wasn't it?
Very high carb, which is where we sort of need to use the insulin for. So weight can come from a variety of different places. As we said, it can come from blood sugar instability, hormones, stress, toxic food. So rather than diet, it's really worth, and we're going to break all of those down in subsequent episodes, but it's just worth just starting to look at your diet and seeing how you can change it.
I think one of the pieces of work that I really enjoyed reading about was the work of Charles Poliquin.
Oh yeah.
Who identified that where you hold weight is an indication of maybe what's going on with the body. So for example, if you are holding weight around your is it hips? Hips is cortisol. Hips and waist is cortisol.
No, hips is estrogen.
Waist is cortisol. Bingo wings is blood sugars.
Yeah, insulin, as is back fat. So there's like a variety of different places that you store fat, and they have a hormonal response, and so you can actually start to change that.
Google Charles Poliquin.
Poliquin.
Thank you very much. And it will give you a really interesting idea of maybe what's going on with your body, where you're holding your weight.
So my top tip was to look at your diet, see what you can clean out, do that first before you commit to a diet.
I think my top tip is to detox. So the body will hold on to weight. I mean, the body is so clever. If your body is full of toxic rubbish, then your body will be using fat cells to encase the toxins.
Like a nuclear silo.
Yeah, and it will be keeping it away from vital organs. So if you try and lose weight by cutting back on calories, then you're not actually dealing with the reason that you have weight in the first place is because of the toxins. So if you are wanting to lose weight in a healthy way, then change your diet, clean it up, and look at doing a detox. And we work with herbal detoxes. One of our favourites is called a Healthy Starter Pack, which you can get through our web shop. So go and visit balancewellness.co.uk to check that out. It's balancewellness.eu actually.
It's balancewellness.eu, so the Healthy Starter Pack. That's a 10-day, it's brilliant.
Just 10 days. And I mean, I see so many clients who try to lose weight and they do lose weight, and then they find that their immune system crashes because they're not dealing with the toxins. the
Yeah.
toxic overload. So that would be my top tip, is to detox as well as to clean the diet
Yeah.
up.
And you can always contact us at info@balancedwellness.co.uk if you want any more advice on that.
Yeah, really happy to share.
Lovely. Well, that's it for today, and we will check in with you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.